Well, the stage is set today for the president's 2 p.m. Twitter town hall. I didn't know you could have visuals for it. An effort to bring the White House message on the economy and jobs to younger, more tech-savvy voters, so the White House says. Stuart Rothenberg, editor of the Rothenberg Political Report and a columnist for Roll Call. Ruth Marcus, a columnist for the Washington Post and a writer for the editorial page. And Mark Murray is the NBC News deputy political director. Stu Rothenberg, when you hear... You were an even later adopter to Twitter than I was. But when you hear, but you do it now. But when you hear that the president is going to have a Twitter town hall, do you roll your eyes completely, or do you say,
pretty much,
I get it?
Yeah, both. I understand kind of the current technologies and trying to be hip and convey a sense that you're with it and you're up to date. But I do roll my eyes because, you know, still, who's following the president? Mostly it's supporters or it's people like you, journalists. You know. I think elections are about swing voters or about casual voters, and I think those people are reachable more likely on television and the mass media.
Mark Murray, you and I have discussed something about this, about the difference between candidate Obama and technology and President Obama and technology. And while they've had some high-profile things like this Twitter town hall and the Facebook deal, and they actually haven't used new technology as aggressively as they did during the campaign.
It's hard when you're in the White House because you're in that building sometimes to be able to get your information. The day is so packed. It doesn't give you the flexibility that being a candidate does. But they are trying. And you actually mentioned, you know, the White House and the campaigning issue. This is campaigning a bit. Remember that other social media town hall the president had with Facebook? It was a big deal. It was out in California. Got a lot of attention. This probably won't get the same amount of attention, but it's yet another attempt to really get another bite of the apple for those 18 to 29-year-olds who were part of his base in 2008.
But Ruth Marcus, there's also a reality here, which is this is a week of the debt talks. They start tomorrow, bringing back in. Obviously, there was some weekend chatter between the president and the speaker that we're all finding out about a little bit. This is a day where, because of the shiny metal object that is Twitter, the president gets to put his side out. Again, I mean, I think that ultimately is what we're looking at today.
And he's not limited to 140 characters.
Well, that's what I'm curious about. Is he or isn't he?
Can you solve the debt ceiling in 140 characters?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the punchline of the day.
Balanced approach.
And
I've got some to spare.
Win the future. Hashtag 2012. I mean, but when we go to the debt ceiling talk, the president yesterday, one thing I noticed, the tone went a lot different than Wednesday.
You know, it was always going to be, and it will be, a Perils of Pauline moment, because you can't, to the extent that there is going to be agreement, and I still believe in the end there's going to be agreement because there has to be agreement, neither side can give what they need to give, and particularly the Republicans, until that train is bearing down on the poor young girl tied to the tracks. And you could make a case that it's going to run over her this time, but the things they have to give on revenue, as we call it, they can only give at the last minute.
You know, Stu, what fascinates me about just the change in 3 months, 3 months ago, all of the wise men and women of Washington would have said, the deal will be struck in the United States Senate. They are the adults in the room. The irony is that those guys are the first ones to say, short-term deal, cut and run, go, go, go. This deal is suddenly, the Senate guys are basically on the sidelines. This is Obama and Boehner, and then to a lesser extent, Steny Hoyer.
Yeah, well, because the House Republicans are the true believers, and they've drawn the line in the sand, and they're going to be the ones who are going to have to decide whether to cross it, how to cross it, and when to cross it. And I think that they are the key to this. And then the White House has adopted a number of different strategies that I expect will continue to kind of move around and try to find the right place that the president appears to be both engaged but not responsible if the public is actually angry at the end of the day.
Well, is the public going to be angry about this? It's been a weird, to me, there's a weird disconnect between what's going on in Washington and the public.
Well, you talked earlier about Wall Street, about how there's not a lot.
They're not reacting either.
Because nobody still quite believes that we're going to fall off the end of the cliff. Nobody believes it. They think this is all kind of the drama building. We've seen it before, and it'll work itself out. If at some point there is a true fear that, wow, there may not be a deal in time, then you'll see a different reaction.
Very quick, you wanted to jump in?
The public will react when the market drops by 500 points in a single afternoon. That's exactly what Stu said.
All right, Mark Murray with Marcus. Stu Rothenberg, stick around. We got a lot to talk about. A bunch of 2012 news and New Jersey. The craziness between Chris Christie and his one-time Democratic friend. Anyway, trivia time. We asked, Though he went on to win the presidency in 1988, George H.W. Bush came in third in the Iowa caucuses, which two Republicans finished ahead of him that year. This was an easy one for folks. The answer, then Kansas Senator Bob Dole. He came in first, but the winner was former Christian broadcasting executive Pat Robertson, who came in second and forever changed the game of the Republican side of the Iowa caucuses. All right, up next, as we teased, more 2012, but also a little talk about the New Jersey smackdown. Is this politics or Jersey Shore? We'll explain next. You're watching the Daily Rundown only on MSNBC.